Tonight on CTV, breaking news as CSU gets rid of the mask mandate and how students feel about this change.
Then, how war efforts across the world are impacting students in Fort Collins.
And changes are coming to our community with the addition of a new barbershop as well as more incentives to get outside.
All that and more starting on CTV right now. Good evening, Rams. I'm Weston Hubbard.
And I'm Natalie Devereaux. It's official. For the first time in nearly 2 years, CSU will not require masks indoors.
That's right. This decision came from CSU monitoring CDC guidelines for high transmission areas, determining that new Larimer County COVID cases have fallen below a moderate level. Just a week ago, on February 24th, the CDC indicated that Larimer County was still in a high level of transmission for the community rates. Over the past few weeks, however, there have been significant decreases in cases per 100,000 Larimer County residents. As we can see right here, 7-day case rates per 100,000 and 7-day positive percentage rates have both gone down. The number of positive tests has also decreased 30% from the week prior. Both these numbers, in addition to having more free beds in ICUs, the CDC has stated that Larimer County is now within a low community transmission level.
Because of Larimer County now falling below a moderate level, CSU President Joyce McConnell and the pandemic preparedness team decided to lift the mask mandate. An email was sent out yesterday morning alerting the community to this update, citing high levels of immunity and a change in CDC metrics as the reasoning. Masks will now be a personal choice rather than requirement. No CSU department may implement a mandate without permission from the pandemic preparedness team. With today being the first day without masks, I decided to see just how students were feeling about the university's decision. And what do you think about CSU dropping the mask mandate?
I think it's good. I think they're about 12 months too late. This is a public university. We should be able to do what we want here.
It felt weird that it just they went from high priority or whatever it was to low priority in 3 days, which felt a little interesting, but I mean, I'm not super concerned about it.
I think since the beginning, it was our choice, our freedom. We're in the United States, so we have the freedom to choose if we want to wear a mask or not. So I think it's just a matter of respecting people's choices.
I'm in support of it because I feel like if you want to wear a mask, you can wear a mask. If you don't, you shouldn't.
How does it feel to see everyone's faces in class again and around campus?
It's kind of uplifting, especially the past couple of years. We've only been able to see each other's eyes, and it's a little demoralizing because you can't see people's emotions besides the corners of their eyes.
My teacher made a comment oh, I didn't know half you people look like this because it's been 2 years since we've been half-faced, I guess.
It's kind of cool too to see that we're kind of going back to normal in a sense and that we're overcoming the pandemic finally.
CSU will be keeping the mandate in place at the Health Center, James L. Voss Veterinary Teaching Hospital, and the Around the Horn shuttle.
Even though the Russian-Ukraine invasion is happening over 5,000 miles away from Fort Collins, the impacts of the situation have been impacting people right here at CSU.
Multiple CSU professors participated in a question and answer session about the invasion. While they might have felt the impacts of this effort while answering questions, other students at CSU are also feeling the weight from thousands of miles away.
That's right, Natalie. I went out to see how locals are feeling about the invasion. In a world full of uncertainty and stress right now, checking the news every single day can add to that stress. The situation in Ukraine seems to be getting worse every single day, and even social medias cannot seem to escape that dark reality. President Biden addressed the nation this week in a State of the Union address and brought up the Ukraine situation and what the U.S. is doing currently to help stop that situation from happening.
Along with our allies, we are right now enforcing powerful economic sanctions. We're cutting off Russia's largest banks in the international financial system, preventing Russia's central bank from defending the Russian ruble, making Putin's $630 billion war fund worthless.
Students at CSU are quite aware of the situation, going ahead and doing what they can to raise awareness of the situation in Ukraine. But we also wanted to ask some students what their take on the Ukraine situation actually is, and how they are going to respond if things get worse.
Russia's being pretty just overly violent, in my opinion. Not that there's not travesties on both sides, but where citizens are being attacked and civilians are being killed is just unnecessary. Definitely some war crimes going on, I think.
Russia just wants to take back land that they think is theirs. And so now Ukraine's kind of pinched in between NATO and Russia, and it's not really their problem.
Really looks useless. I don't think there's really a very good reason for it. But again, I would have to read a little bit more about it.
Many are hoping for a safe end to the violence and destruction that is occurring within Ukraine. Even if these events take place outside our local community, it's important to keep a dialogue about and know what is happening within the world.
That's right, Weston. And speaking of things that are affecting Fort Collins, reporter JJ McKinney is here to tell us about another change coming to our area. JJ?
Thanks, Natalie. After years of not having a place for authentic haircuts in communities of color, a local barber has finally come up with a solution. Local barber James Holland, also known as Hans the Barber, has been cutting hair for years, making sure his clients look as clean as possible. All of his hard work has led him to open up C.A.A.K.S. Barbershop, a local barber with the hope of serving Northern Colorado's communities of color. There was a serious need for a barbershop here in the Fort Collins, Loveland area. C.A.A.K.S. Barbershop offers a variety of cuts and fades for all of its customers. And while its focus is on people of color and their styling and needs, the shop is open to all members of the community. If I'm going to go into business, I'm going to do something that I feel like I'm good at, and I can hopefully fill that void in order to give that option to CSU students, or perhaps anybody else living in the area that needs those type of haircuts or those quality haircuts. Holland talks about his time as a CSU student and the difficulty for black students to find barbers that knew how to cut his hair. In Colorado State, there was a lack of representation, so to speak, in the African-American community in terms of the hair. Holland speaks about how he hopes the barbershop can act as a safe place for communities of color, where they are all able to come together peacefully and build community trust. It kind of ties into the whole black barbershop thing. Black barbershop is something that's always been there in the black community all the way back to the slave days. Be able to bring that here to Fort Collins, Loveland, or Northern Colorado, and try to be able to duplicate that in this arena. Holland says C.A.A.K.S. Barbershop is located in Loveland, Colorado, and is open for all members of the community to enjoy. Back to you, Weston.
Thank you, JJ, for the information. A former Loveland police officer accepted a plea deal earlier this week for a case that happened in 2020. Austin Hopp was accused of using excessive force when arresting Karen Gardner, a 73-year-old woman with dementia. After a year and a half since the initial incident took place, former Officer Hopp accepted a guilty verdict. His acceptance came from a plea deal that would take the charge from 2 felonies and 1 misdemeanor down to only 1 felony charge of second-degree assault. Gardner's family was in high opposition of this plea deal, as they felt it was not bringing justice to Karen or the situation. Despite the objections from the family, Judge Michelle Brininger, who is working the case, accepted the plea agreement, saying she feels it is truly the best option for the family at the time.
Over the last several weeks, CSU PD has seen an increase in online scams. They have been targeted at students, staff, and faculty. One of the most common tricks is impersonation of CSU organizations or officials, which reach out to students under a fake email asking for money. Another recent scam comes from a data information breach. In one instance, a hacker was able to get enough information on a student to impersonate them virtually. Using the stolen identity, they then went on to steal money from a student club. As these hoaxes become more prevalent, CSU PD has a few tips to help keep campus safe. They suggest not providing financial information to unknown people, use privacy settings on social media, and verify phone numbers from alleged government agencies. Scams can be reported to police.colostate.edu.
Loveland and Fort Collins will see an introduction of new build-to-rent housing communities in the near future. Build-to-rent housing is a way to create homes that are purely for more affordable rent in a market where buying a house can be quite expensive. In the past, these communities have had a slow growth rate in Fort Collins, but are expecting around 14,000 for-rent houses to be built this year, which is double from last year. This trend of growing has increased plenty over the last decade, which seems just to be in time as down payments on homes tend to be more and more expensive, with some as high as 20% of the total purchase cost. These homes look to cater towards certain demographics such as empty nesters, retirees, or people that are new to the housing market. With the trend for new-to-rent houses becoming more and more prominent, it will be interesting to see if it grows over the entire state, rather than just a local level.
Recycling is known to improve the environment, but the way recycling is collected can also have an impact. The Fort Collins City Council is considering creating a community-wide contract for collecting household trash and recycling. This would mean that the city would contract one hauler to service single-family homes instead of having people select their own trash hauler. This effort could help reduce prices of trash collecting as well as reduce emissions, as well as wear and tear on roads. If you are interested in sharing your thoughts on this effort or what is important to you in a trash hauler, you can visit city.fcgov.com/contract-for-trash. Weston, I don't know about you, but I love Girl Scout cookies, and I think many people agree, as Girl Scout cookies are a hallmark of American culture, but they are now being impacted by a new U.S. staple, supply chain issues. There are around 15,000 Girl Scouts across Colorado and 51 troops in Fort Collins. All look forward to cookie sales each year, but like many products, shortages have an impact.
Even the Girl Scouts aren't immune to labor shortages and some of the supply chain issues that so many companies and businesses are seeing right now.
The bakery who produces the cookies notified Girl Scouts in January that their new Adventureful cookie would be in short supply.
Then just days before we actually began selling cookies, we heard that that was impacting a couple other varieties as well.
But this is not the only hardship troops are having to overcome.
We had about 5 trucks carrying thousands of cases of cookies to us in Colorado that got delayed because of winter weather conditions.
There are around 300,000 more cases of cookies in Colorado right now than last year, but there is fewer variety.
We would have customers asking constantly for certain cookies, and we wouldn't have any.
This is all we have left.
I've noticed that I have a lot of sales in cookies that I didn't normally before.
Girl Scouts are working hard to remain optimistic amid the troubles.
Our troop has kept everything very positive. It's definitely helped keep morale high.
Even though it's unfortunate, we do look at it as an opportunity for our girls to continue to learn and to hone those entrepreneurial skills.
Even though obstacles keep popping up, the organization believes this is an important outlet and learning opportunity for children.
The cookie program, again, it's those business skills. They really are running a small business. But Girl Scouts in general, it's truly a sisterhood of support, which I think is just more needed and more relevant than ever.
Thank you. You enjoy.
Although Colorado Girl Scouts have no plans to end cookie sales early, booths may run out before the scheduled March 13th end date.
It truly is heartbreaking. Lawrence, make sure you don't go anywhere yet.
After the break, Kenneth Frederick will be joining us what you can expect for this weekend's weather.
Dad?
Just 1 minute, okay?
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Welcome back from the break, everyone. Over $200 million was given by CSU's donor community in 2021. This set a new university record for the most donations received in a calendar year. The fund supported students facing financial crisis, programs to increase equity and access, and research into sustainability. Around $24 million was used to provide scholarships. The university states this shows the pivotal role relationships with donors hold within fundraising. Well, Weston, hearing about all the generosity from donors makes me feel great. One other thing that makes people feel good is exercise. Live reporter Gavin Wolf is coming to us live from the CSU Rec Center to talk about how fitness has been used to make people feel better in more than just a physical way. Gavin?
Thanks, Natalie. Women's fitness has been trending on social media ever since the beginning of the pandemic. As you can see, I'm here at the CSU Rec Center. Now, health and exercise have been typically trending. However, for many women, this can cause problems with body image and working out. In a traditionally male-dominated environment, student Audrey Lavity saw a need for change in the CSU weightlifting community. She started a new club for female weightlifting called Girl Gains with a mission to empower, educate, and support women on their fitness journey.
I think social media plays such a huge role in everyone's lives. Like, everyone is always scrolling on Instagram and everyone's praising like all these different body types that are unattainable or just unrealistic. And I feel like all the workout videos that are posted online are aimed to help girls lose weight or get that summer body ready. And I just don't think that's healthy. I think that people should be working out because they love themselves, not trying to change themselves.
Health and exercise science student Casey Beth agrees that social media can be misleading for women's fitness.
I think social media creates a false standard for women's bodies, and women just need to work out for themselves and creating what they want to see in themselves, not what social media expects to see.
While social media can impact why and how women work out, it can also make it intimidating for beginners. This is why Audrey wants to provide a safe and welcoming environment for all women at Girl Gains.
I just want to provide a space to teach them how to use equipment, use it safely, proper form, so they can just be more confident going into the gym.
Audrey hopes to grow the Girl Gains Club in the future to create a community of strong women while using social media as a platform for positivity. Even though social media can be a misleading representation of women's fitness, it can also be a place of unity and empowerment for women, no matter where they are in their fitness journey. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Gavin. South Fort Collins is losing one of its Starbucks locations after the company has decided to shut it down. The location off of South College Avenue at East Harmony Road has been given the notice that they will be shutting down Tuesday of next week. Starbucks commented saying that this was the right move, despite it being a very hard choice. The company has standards that they felt this location was just not quite meeting. The employees of the store were given the option to transfer to other nearby stores, which hopefully shouldn't be too difficult to transition, with plenty of options around them.
If some of those Starbucks employees were looking to switch restaurants but still work in the food industry, they may have another opportunity coming soon. Raising Cane's, a popular chicken finger restaurant, has submitted a proposal to build a new drive-thru location at 1800 North College Avenue. There is currently a used car dealership on this plot of land, but Cane's proposes to demolish it in order to build the new drive-thru. This would include an on-site parking lot and patio. While this proposal has not yet been approved, it could mean that there will be another place to get chicken fingers sometime soon.
As someone who works at ChickfilA, I'm kind of just like definitively like, I would support a second Cane's location, but I'm kind of, I'm on my side of the fence.
I would support one because I can't say I go to Cane's a lot, but I use that Starbucks where the one is there now.
Oh, yeah.
And the line gets so long with everyone backed up in the drive-thru.
It's ridiculously long. So I'm in support of it if it means South College is less clustered, but at the same time, still a Chick-fil-A guy at heart, but that's fine. But speaking of birds and not chickens, reporter Hattie Williams is here to talk to you about how birds are helping people get outside. Hattie?
Thanks, Weston. Awe-inspiring, truly magical. And no, I'm not talking about spring break right around the corner. I'm talking about eagles. Fort Collins Nature Trails are home to many animals, and this includes our very own bald eagles residents. With their nest inhabiting a tree along the trail of River Bluffs, these soaring birds are bringing the community back into nature.
In an effort to increase traffic to Fort Collins Nature Trails, Larimer County's Natural Resource Department has set up eagle sightings as well as informational presentations.
Animals like bald eagles really capture people's attention, right? They're so majestic, people have heard about them, and then they come out here and maybe they go for another walk, or maybe they decide to go to another one of the open spaces. So it really lets people have those moments that they can now go, oh, maybe I am an outdoors person.
With these birds drawing attention from people all over Fort Collins, it's a great chance to promote and educate on nature conservation.
Well, it just makes it a neater place to live. All this could be ranch land like it was and nothing else done with land put aside. No open spaces that are protected against the next big box or another neighborhood. It's for the wildlife. Back in the 60s, it was a species that was on its way out. I think in 1963, Colorado had 3 nests. Now Colorado has more than 200 bald eagle nests. And this time of year, especially with COVID, we thought, well, we'll do this trail host thing. People come by walking, and there they are on the nest. And the more I learn about nature, the more I appreciate all the little things.
You know, that we're not separate, we have all that connection to other people, to nature, to all that's around us.
These eagles were such a sight to behold. I even learned that this particular pair of birds have been in the community for over 20 years. That's almost as old as I am. Well, anyway, back to you guys.
Thanks, Hattie. I think bald eagles are super cool, and I definitely think I'd take a quick trip there at least like once or twice in my life to see one just, fly.
I definitely have to agree. But stick around after the break because CTV will be here to talk about how well she thinks the CSU basketball team will fare against a regular season champ. That's next on CTV.